How you feeling so far?
Good, dude. Really fucking good. Because I worked hard to feel this good. If that makes sense. That pre-prep, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And how low? Well, does your food ever get like really low, or do you ever have to take out cheat meals?
Not really. Like low. What? Let's just say there's never a meal without carbs.
Oh shit. Okay, damn. I
Yeah.
find that fascinating because I mean, you have a lot of muscle, but you're not a big person. You know,
Right. Yeah.
it's
Tiny,
it's
but as
it's
I've put
crazy.
on more muscle, I need more food to, I guess, fill out the muscle. I don't know, man.
This is facts. I
Giant
mean,
killer status.
yeah. Well, that's definitely facts. The more muscle you put on, you definitely require more food. I think sometimes it could be deceiving because you do hold more water if you have more muscle, right? So sometimes you might think that you're not getting shape just because the look is different, or sometimes new muscle doesn't look as I guess detailed. So then you
Right.
confuse yourself, right? You're like, oh, I gotta get low, gotta get lower. And for me, that causes me to over diet. It causes me over diet because you want to lose. Hey, no, because you want to lose that extra, but then you find out that it's not. It wasn't as much body fat as you thought, and you probably should have had more food. You know,
Yeah, for sure. Like whenever
that's
I
important.
start feeling a certain type of way, like my feedback is I'm, quick to be not like snappy. I can't even think straight right now, but like when I'm a
Yeah.
bitch and I'm raging in traffic and little things pissing me off, that's like okay, that's my cue that I'm depleted and it's almost time to do a Five Guys refeed. So
Yeah.
whenever I start feeling like shit, that's where it's time to load back up because my diet alone, with paired with my training and cardio style, I'm flat within a day or two. Well, my
Yeah.
version of flat, maybe not my coach's, but
So that's funny because for experienced person, no, no. For for a beginner, it's almost the opposite. For a beginner, I would go by their look more than their feeling because they don't know what this really like. I know for myself, I didn't really know what it felt like. Like I'm like, what the fuck? Does everybody feel this shitty? Like this is crazy, right? So a beginner might feel so shit. They're like, I know I need some carbs because I feel like shit, right? Whereas they just haven't got used to that feeling of suffering, right? Whereas the more experienced you are, I would do the opposite. I would literally the feeling is almost more important than the look because you might be so flat that you actually look soft, like
like
your whole right. You could be so flat that you look less conditioned, and if you go by the look, you'll be like, huh, maybe I need less food. But the truth is that if you're really depleted, you'll know by like you said, you feel super like anxious, tense, irritable, and your performance is shit, complete shit.
yes,
You know,
yes.
and that's something
Performance is definitely my last little check in with my coach. I check in with him pretty much daily, but like the last time I checked in with him and sent him pictures, I was like, I'm weak as fuck. My strength's down, and I'm straight up weak, and I'm not sweating. Like
yeah,
I'm going hard as fuck, but my body will not break that sweat like it has recently been. So
that's
we
not
did
good.
Five Guys, and I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie, I ate three muffins on top of my last meal.
you see,
But three
to
muffins along with the Five Guys made me look good as fuck. Like damn, I'm not gonna lie, like I felt guilty, but the next day trained back, took some pictures. I was like, I do need food. I need a lot of food to like harden up. So
yeah, yeah. Prep. You got to be careful with prep. It's not going to be linear. You can't just do this. You got to do all of this
yep.
shit because you start doing this is no good because well, anytime I think I can speak for myself. Anytime my performance has went to shit before, okay, like last 4 days, yeah, of course. I mean, I don't expect your performance to be crazy, but if anything before maybe 2 weeks out, depending on the person, Most people like 1 to 2 weeks out. Anything before that, if your performance just declines drastically, your look is going to be shit. Even if you're lean, just body fat is not the end all be all. There's more to it. Your body fat has to be low, but you have to have a pop. You have to have a roundness. You have to keep the muscle, right? You start flattening out to the point you're losing tissue. You don't look leaner, even if you lose body fat. You lose muscle with body fat, you're fucked. That's something that's not a trade off you can make in the sport. That's not a maker. Maybe if you're making weight in classic or some shit like that, but for the most part, like any other division, I mean, you still wouldn't want to lose muscle in it, even in classic. But I'm just saying. So that's something you have to make sure that your performance, even if you're not hitting PRs, you're maintaining your lifts to a point. You know,
Yep.
because that's no
Right.
good. So anytime I find my performance going to shit, my look goes to shit. So
Yeah, I have like certain things in my training that I kind of focus on to make sure my strength is at least maintained. And then it's like as I'm getting closer to a show, let's say I can rack pull 4 plates for 10 reps. I try to hold that 10 reps week by week. And then when the reps start fading, let's just say however many weeks I'm out, if I'm 8 weeks out or 9 weeks out, I try to hit 9 reps with it. That's just my little incentive to myself. And again, if I'm 2 weeks out, I try to pull it at least twice. I try not to avoid heavyweight because that's what it took to get to this point. So I mean, I do all the pump stuff, but what I post on my Instagram is all the ego lifting. But the ego lifting stuff matters. Definitely
yeah,
matters
yeah,
for that hard granite stage look. But
yeah, yeah. You got to move some weight.
keeps me from being bored too.
Yeah, exactly. So a perfect prep in my eyes usually from at least from what I've experienced with clients or people who've talked to me. Let's say you have about three days, three legit fat burning days where you're at a state where you don't have any more glycogen or barely any glycogen left, right? And you drop, let's say the first day, once you get to the point where the carbs are gone, let's say you drop a pound or two on that Monday, a pound or two on that Tuesday, a pound or two on that Wednesday. Then that Thursday goes back up. Let's say you gain, I don't know, let's say, but you lost what, 246, you lost 6 pounds. Let's say you have a refeed, you gain 2, 3 pounds. Okay. Now performance goes back up a little bit. And then it might take a 2 more days for you to drop back to baseline weight and drop that 3 pounds off, and then you dig in a little bit more for a couple of days. And if you can get somebody to do that, feed up, lose the weight they gain, and then dig into some body fat, come back out, feed up. So if you can keep that process going, that's usually the best look. Anytime you have somebody going 7, 10 days just depleting, a lot of time nothing good comes out of that. I know in extreme cases sometimes you have to go that extreme, but you would want to avoid that. You want to get 3, 4 days max, maybe, of legit fat burning days, not just weight dropping, legit fat burning days when you're into the fat, and then come back out of it, lose that extra glycogen, go back in there. But it should be a cycle like that. It should be a cycle, boom, boom, boom.
So
You know.
does Justin do you have a set diet or do you do like a low carb diet, a medium diet, and a high carb diet?
So technically, yeah, but the way the check-ins go, it's not like, oh, okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll do this. On your rest day, you'll do a low day. It's more so check in every third day, right? So it's more so,
Okay.
okay, let's do a low day for 3 days, see how you look. And if I drop enough body fat or weight, he'll probably give me 1 or 2 days with slightly higher carbs. But
Mm.
if I don't drop enough weight, he might run another 3 days. So it might go 6 days. But like I said, it might not be ideal for some people, like who are really hard to lose fat. You might need to dig in deeper. But the best looks are always when I do drop a good couple of pounds and he's able to give me every third day. So
Mm.
he won't map it out that way. But if your body is responding, you pretty much every 3, 4 days you're getting like some carbs.
Yeah.
Some of his clients, it might be a burger and fries. With me, it's usually just a little bit more rice. So
Right. So what about with your clients? If you let's just say you have a chick that's trying to do bigger.
Yeah, yeah.
or bikini? Do you give her one set diet, or do you tell her every third day check in?
Yeah, so I feel like you the way your coach works, you tend to, at least your first coach or your first couple of coaches, you tend to kind of go that route, right?
Yeah,
So it's like, because I'm the most comfortable doing that, that's usually the way I'll do it with them. So I'll usually have them, depending on how close to the show, they might be checking in every 3 days. Sometimes every 2 days, every day, even by the ending, some people multiple times a day. And depending on how fast their body changes. And yeah, I'll basically do that. Okay, so this is how you look right now. The next 2 days, we'll do this. And they're checking on the third day. I'm like, okay, so we'll keep that going, or we'll give you a little bit more, a little bit less. And by that point, I should already know how their body responds. If I know my client well, I could say exactly what they're going to weigh the next day. Granted, they follow the plan, right? I could tell them exactly, this is what's going to happen. You're going to go up 2 pounds. By this day, you're going to be down 2 pounds, and the exact same thing happens every time. Because you get in tune. You get a feel for your client, almost like it's your body. With your body, you know what's going to happen with your body. So you almost get in tune. That's usually when the clients look best. When you're that in tune with them, it usually means, first of all, they're not cheating. They're doing the cardio the way they should be doing it, and they're not fucking around. Because if they're fucking around, that shit goes to waste. You don't know what the fuck is gonna
exactly.
happen.
Exactly. And
And
that's that's a big part of coaching, is being in tune with if your clients are actually adhering to the protocols that you're sending them. Because
100%.
yeah, I have some like unicorn clients that are like me, to a T about everything and go above and beyond. And then some, it's almost like you're trying to condition them to a diet. Like, hey, you got to eat your meals and actually
100%.
follow the plan. So for sure.
100%. And they're the level of coaching you get. If you get experience like Compton knows when you do something that you shouldn't have, whether it's more cardio, less cardio, whether he won't call you out because he doesn't want to do the back and forth unless you feel like he has to, but he'll adjust accordingly. And like in hindsight, I could tell that he knew everything. Anything I overdid, because I used to be a chronic overdoer. I would overdo everything. You give me 2 hours, I would do 3 hours. And I could tell that he knew. Now, knowing him more personally, I'm like, yo, he knew. That's why he fucking did that. I'm like, oh shit, that's crazy. Because you wouldn't. You think it's like a child. Like you go steal a cookie. You think nobody notices. Like, okay, I'm gonna do more, and you think that he didn't notice, but he's been doing it so long, and he knows your body well enough to know when you're fucking around. So that's another thing. I've had clients where I could tell when they cheat, just, or I could tell when they blatantly just don't follow the plan. Because sometimes I'll purposely be like, "There's no way he didn't lose weight." You know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna tell him to keep his heart rate at 150. I'm gonna tell him to do another hour, and I'm like, "There's no way he could actually do that." And then he does, and they check in with the same rate. I'm like, okay, so now, now you're just blatantly lying, because I know for a fact, I know you cannot do another hour with 150 heart rate. I know you can't do that, and especially not to stay the same weight, So you can catch people like that, you know.
Yeah. I have a client,
What
like I like whenever you give a client a refeed meal and they drop weight. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's
hmm
go. That's my favorite.
when you really got the metabolism going, you give them fucking burger and fries and they drop weight, you're like, oh, now it's on. Now it's on.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I don't want me or my clients getting like cold early in the prep. Like maybe when all the body fat is off, like a couple weeks out, and you feel cold all the time. That's one thing. But if your metabolism is revving, you shouldn't really be getting cold 12 weeks out, 8 weeks out, right? Like your
Yeah.
body should be on fire. So that's something I don't like to hear or see. If you're not sweating at all and you're like running cold, I'm like, uh-oh. Usually when the food is super low, that's what happens. And then sometimes I try to get the body going when that
Yeah,
happens.
for sure.
What kind of cardio you do?
I love the stairs. That's what I've been choosing here recently. Like I just did a 20-minute walk on the treadmill, both legs. Um, but I don't know. I just like the stairs. I can get on there. There's a little interval setting, set my settings up, throw a towel over the timer, and just go to work. I don't have to think about it. Watch my little show, and
Yeah,
I just feel like a little bit better for my glutes right now. Um, but my hips are getting sore. Like my just actual hips are sore. So I may need to switch up sporadically, but stairs is what I go to. Intervals, 4 minutes, lower intensity, 4 minutes, high as fuck, as fast as I can go.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Stairs are generally considered like on the lower impact side compared to like a treadmill, right? Because not the constant steps, right? Because you're kind of stepping up, but it's not no impact. Where like the elliptical is zero impact because your feet don't leave the pads, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm heavy, it's hard for me to do anything with impact because, like you said, your hips are getting tired. Like my ankles, my knees, my hips start to take a beating when I do like anything with impact for some reason. Like when I'm heavy, because it's a lot of weight coming down. Um, so I like to do
I,
the. Huh?
I like to run, but I guess I'm too heavy or making up
Yeah,
excuses. But running's a little difficult right now.
it gets rough at that. Yeah. When I was a heavyweight, I used to run laps with my clients. Literally run laps, because at my height, a heavyweight is under 225. I mean, that's for our standard, that's pretty light, for normal people, they're like, that's not light, But I used to be out of there. But yeah, that's not happening now. But I was gonna say I like doing the step mill. That's the one that you go like this, right?
Where you don't take your feet off at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not as intense as the stairmaster, but it gives me like a similar. I definitely can get my heart rate up. I could sweat like crazy on that, but no impact. So that to me is a good balance, and I don't get like a crazy quad pump from that. Like too crazy quad pump. You know, how low is your food right now? If you had if you had to, hello, like like how
What do
much
you
carbs a
consider?
day?
What do you consider low for a woman? Like, what's a meal that's low?
I would say like if your carbs are 100 grams of carbs, not weight, 100 grams of carbs or lower, I would consider that pretty low
A
or
hundred
very
grams
low
of carbs per meal, or
just for the day.
oh, I'm way over that.
Uh,
Like,
like,
I, I, my last meal is 6 ounces of chicken, 200 grams of rice, and a muffin.
so you probably that's what like 60 from the rice and then muffin, maybe another
I think there's
80.
55 gram. There's 55 in the muffin. There's a good amount of fat in the muffin, but I just got like I wake up flat and empty. Like I don't know. Like
Yeah,
my body's so accustomed to just eating like a fat fuck at night and then waking up and looking really good. But right now, I'm not necessarily eating like a fat fuck. I do have a bigger meal at night, but I still wake up like a little bit emptier. Not flat, but just emptier. And then once I have my first meal and I take a little nap, I wake up and then I look really good. That's when I'm like sending my coach pictures.
yeah. Okay. But for your other meals, fuck, for your other meals, you have a muffin with you only have the rice without the muffin for the rest of the meals.
Yeah, chicken, pound, and rice, and keep it simple.
So let's say, and you get 5 meals or six.
6.
Damn. So you probably getting like 300, like over 400 carbs a day.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I really
Around
don't.
there.
I've never counted, so I don't ever know. But
Yeah.
it's enough to where I don't feel like shit.
Holy shit. So okay. So off season, do you know how much food you eat? Wait, do you eat clean at all in off season, or you eat whatever
Like
as much as you can?
the off season, I basically keep my diet the same as what it is now. And this sounds cliche, but it's like truly a lifestyle. Like this is how I like to eat. So like in the off season, instead of being 100% strict to my diet, that's when I have the leeway to go get tacos. But that's still a part of my diet. It's just a different option. Um, so I keep my diet clean like during the day, and then in the off season, that last meal is whatever I want. Sometimes it would just be a shake, or sometimes it would be canes, or Five Guys, or tacos, or whatever I was feeling that night. But keep it clean during the day. Last meal is whatever, and then start cleaning up that last meal for the pre prep, and then
Yeah, yeah.
tighten everything up slowly. But it just gives me leeway to stay on track, but also do what I want to do, because that's why I like my career, because I do what I want to do. No one, my coach tells me what to do for sure, but I've always done exactly what I want to do. Kind of
Yeah,
like Sam Sulik's getting fucking shredded off of what he's choosing to eat. Same style. It doesn't matter what other people think at the end of the day, as long as you're enjoying what you're doing
yeah,
and
yeah.
making progress. Like if I can get away with a muffin, that's not my fault.
You know, if you talk to like a lot of like really good pros or top pros, even top amateurs in private, off the camera, they usually tell you to say. I mean, you'll say it on camera, but most people on camera might not admit that. But off camera, they'll say like they all have a coach, but they know their body as well. Sebum said it, but I think it was after he retired. He was like, when Hani would give me like a refeed with more potatoes, he said I would go have a cookie, and I would I would just let it match up a little bit with the macros, and I'm like, huh, it's interesting because like you know your body, you know how you look. If you've been doing it long enough, you know all these things. So I think most people do that to a point, and they usually look better for it, not worse. You know?
Yeah, like have you ever been in the scenario of, let's just say you're 1 or 2 days out, you're in the hotel room, and let's say Justin's like, all right, let's do, I'm just gonna say steak and rice, and you're like, well, fuck, I ran out of rice. He's like, oh, you're good, just do 6 rice cakes or 200
Yeah,
grams of
yeah,
potato. Like you have options. There's no one set fucking way. Like,
100%.
and that's where a professional will, like in my earlier days of my career, it was like I have to do this, I have to have this, I have to be on point, I have to eat at this time. But that just caused mental
100%.
to, like, it just fucked me up mentally. So now I'm to the point where I don't have to wake up at a certain time. As long as I get the meal in, I get the job done, I go hard as fuck, I sleep and rest, repeat, rinse, do it again the next day. That's what matters.
100%.
So
Yeah. Other than last year, let's say Justin would let's say Justin would usually send me, let's say on like I said, every third day. Let's say if he says I need like a refeed, he would say he would give me the grams of carbs. He would say I don't know 100 grams of carbs, right? And he wouldn't specify where I needed to get it from. So I would say okay, and then I would get it from wherever I wanted to without getting too much extra fat. And
mhm.
honestly, if I felt like I was super depleted and my performance is shit, I wouldn't even mind the fat. I would be like, fuck it, I'm gonna get oxtails, but I don't care how much fat I get from it. And last year was the only year that I didn't do that. I just did it from like rice or potatoes, and I swear I looked worse last year than I did any other year before. At least in my opinion, maybe I was more muscular, but the overall look was worse in my opinion. You know, I think body fat wise, I was where I needed to be, but once again, it's not just about body fat. Everything, the flatness, this loose skin, all that shit. Overall, it was a worse look. So it's like I only did it because I felt like I want to act like a pro, you know. I want to just do everything and it's like it's not about really the small things. It's about the overall overarching thing, right? Like nobody's losing the show from chewing gum or having a mint.
Exact.
You
Literally,
know,
literally,
bro.
literally.
And I see that shit on these podcasts sometimes, and people they get so bad. Okay, this, that, and potassium, and I'm like, bro, you guys, you're nowhere near the top level, and it's not because you're not having enough potassium, showing it. It's just not. It has nothing to do with
Like,
that,
like
right?
last year, do you know who Santi Aragon is?
Yeah, yeah, I know that is.
Yeah, he's retired classic pro, but he used to be my coach. And
Oh shit, okay.
last year at the Texas Pro, he came and visited me in my room to check me out. And he was like, "How much water are you drinking?" I was like, "I don't know." He was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I just drink Diet Coke." I was like, this is what I do. I drink how I just listen to my body and I drink when I'm thirsty and I drink what I want to drink. No matter if it's water or coffee or Diet Coke. I just drink when I'm thirsty and that's produced this look. So I don't really like again, there's people who are like, I'm drinking my gallon, I have a quarter teaspoon of salt. Like, yeah, it does make a difference, but I'm gonna stress other shit versus that little.
The more important shit. What's up, DT?
What's up? What's up? Sorry,
Chilling,
I,
chilling.
I was playing
What
video
up?
games,
What up, DT?
and when
No,
you when you texted me, I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "I gotta get on."
no, you good, brother. You good. Yeah, but some people know exactly how much water they drink off season, and I'm like, bro, how the fuck would I know that? I'm having Crystal Light. I'm having some diet soda. I was my pre workout. I don't fucking know. Like I don't. How the fuck would I know? I don't know. No, nobody's like. I can guarantee you, Samson Dowder doesn't know how much water he's drinking off season. You know what I'm saying? That's not the reason you're winning or losing. You know, it's usually just general. Honestly,
Right.
first and foremost, let's be real. It is genetics. Like Samson is the way he is because genetics first, right? Then the hard work. But the hard work is you got to start from the big strokes first before you get to the small shit. And most people aren't even concerned about the small shit. If we're being honest, you know, the fine details. You know, I was watching a
There was something
podcast.
that I heard Sadiq Hadzovic say. My bad.
No, you good.
I was just saying that I heard Sadiq Hadzovic. He said one time, I don't even know where he said this, but he was like, "Be 99% perfect." He's like, "Fuck that other 1%." Like, there's little things that are gonna come up. Like, just try to be 99%. Don't be 100. And that
100%.
99% is if you fucking missed a liter of water or you forgot to salt a meal. Like, that's the little shit not to trip out on. And then not tripping out will allow your cortisol to stay chill, and then you'll stay in the fat burning zone and not fucking hold on to water because you're stressing over water.
100%, 100%. Was it Aceto says that all the time as well. Like he doesn't go for 100% because when coaches try to knock it out the park is when you start fucking up, right? And you'll see coaches who will have a client look amazing, but the majority of the clients don't look very good, right? Because that one guy hits it out the park, you know, but the other clients, you try to hit a home run and you just missed the swing altogether, you know. I think the best coaches are usually the ones that do the least, right? The least crazy manipulation. So that's why I see those very successful, or Hani or Compton or whoever else. But some coaches you could have like a Chad or Milos where they'll have clients hit it out the fucking park sometimes, but then generally you look at most of the amateur clients, they kind of hit or miss because sometimes they try to go for 100% a lot of times, and it's not really what it is. You know. What's up, DT?
I feel like in this day though, like, excuse me, sorry, I was just gonna say
No,
real quick. I feel
hey,
like
go ahead.
this generation is so like when you hire a coach, you feel like you have to have some spreadsheet, some Excel, like fucking science project, or else you're not a
Yeah,
good coach.
yeah.
Really
I've
do.
definitely seen those. I've seen those Excel spreadsheets with the brand. The brand is behind it. You got you know what I'm saying. So if you, I'm like, God damn, I just be in my notes, bro. I don't think it's that deep,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
I don't even
But
own a laptop, and I be coaching all these people old school. Like, but
don't think. I mean, my first coach coached me through the phone. There was no written copy. He just told me, yeah. What? Okay, yeah. 8 ounce chicken. I was like, I got to write it down on the paper. Okay, what else? You know. First of all, he didn't want that. So he didn't want people sharing it around and telling people, oh, this is my. You know, if you got other businesses and shit, or honestly, if you're like a if you're trying to win Mr. Olympia, let's say, imagine if Phil Heath was coaching clients and there was his email, Phil Heath, telling people to take DECA and
Right.
sometimes you do have to be careful. Hani doesn't write anything out neither, you know.
Oh, really?
So
that
yeah,
just
so
that just reminded me. I just watched the podcast with Justin and Armin and King
I
from
did too.
Holly,
Yeah,
and he was saying how Matt Jansen had Justin was confirming that Matt Johnson did send over a protocol that was ridiculous, and he knew it was Matt because it was the same email at the top. So
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, see, Boston used to tell me that, and I was like, I've never seen a crazy protocol for Matt. But then he was telling me that that was after he already changed. So when he started, obviously Dallas passed away, right? And then he started getting like people started talking shit about his cycles. And I think generally what he would do is for like who the amateurs or like the lower level guys, he would just give them really low doses. And people would be like, no, look, you see, it's low doses. And you're like, oh, okay, so
Yeah.
that happened. I'll be like, I've never seen a crazy dose, but these are my amateur friends that he probably really doesn't think are gonna be a big deal, you know. But it seemed like it's true because now I'm hearing that for the top guys, he was giving. And then Charles Griffin did say on RX Muscle, remember he was on a podcast with them. He was like, but I never took the shit he told me to take. I would take half of that shit. He was like, nah, that's too much for me. And that's Matt's friend. Like he wasn't even trying to put him on blast. He was just being honest. So if he felt the need to take half, then that would tell you that it's probably on the high side, you know. So that was actually a really good podcast. It was a really good podcast.
With Justin?
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I'm like 3/4 of the way in.
I gotta have Justin more on with the guy. I usually have him by himself because he tells good stories, and I just want to listen to the stories. So I'll have him by himself. I'll just let him go. I'm like, oh yeah, what the fuck, that's crazy. Shit
It's
for
fun. We're talking about Justin Compton.
yeah.
Yeah, he comments on my like when I start talking about steroids a lot. He'll comment like he's like, see, he knows. He said he like. It's funny how he comments, but then like people will go back and forth with him too. I'm like, dude, do you know who this guy is? Like, it.
I don't think they do. I think some people miss that era,
Yeah,
you know, because if people that I remember when he was crazy. They're like, oh yeah, he used to compete. I'm like, wait, what?
oh,
Did he used to compete?
Okay,
Oh yeah. Locally,
yeah,
locally.
he did some small stuff, you know.
So no, but some people only know him after that, and I'm like, bro, well, you missed a great fucking era because and he did that all before he was even 27. He was like 24, 25 when he was doing
That's
that, bro.
crazy.
That to me is insane. That to me is insane.
I feel like the generation now has missed the what the fuck? Sorry, I keep hitting this button. This era that like body. I don't ever think like, and this is me personally, like 90s are better than 2000s, this and that. Like I hate when people start comparing errors, right? Um, but when you look at like growing up, you're like you forget the good guys too. You know, like you forget Justin. You're like, oh fuck, Justin Compton, and then you're like, Rowley. You're like, oh fuck, and then you start thinking about Kevin English. You start going down these like these memory lanes in a sense, you know, because we talk about Rodney and Jay, but like Dennis Wolf, like he's not really talked about too much, you know. So it's interesting. Like Marcus Rule, I don't know. I just like you start
100%.
reminiscing. You start reminiscing. So I guess it sucks though. I wonder if they had IG back in the day, who would be like the top? Yeah, like who would actually be like? I think it'd be Rowley. I think he'd be up there because he used to do crazy shit like ride motorcycles and like douche. I feel like his personality would be.
It would have been dope. But see, don't you feel like I feel like we also did our research because in hindsight, I'm like, yo, by the time I really got into bodybuilding, like these guys they were on the tail end of their career, right? The Ronnies and Jays and
yes,
a lot of them. Yes. But like we went back and watched all the battles for the Olympia and shit like that, right? So that's like technically like I really didn't catch that much of Ronnie. I was really catching Phil Heath, but I know every show, I know every look just because I went and looked for it, you know. Where it's amazing because I feel like I'm getting old. When somebody told me, "Yeah, I started bodybuilding because of C-Bum," and I'm like, that just happened. Like what?
Crazy, but think about this concept. What you just said. I started bodybuilding because of C-Bum. You didn't start bodybuilding because you got into it and you loved it. it was C bump. Like
it was a person.
So this is what's recently happened with me. We all get so caught up in, I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to be this persona on Instagram and I have to show people. You start to lose this. Why did I get into it?
Sure.
So that's why, like, that's why I'm not doing. Alyssa actually DM'd me. She's like, "You ain't doing North Americans." She's like, "You need to do North Americans." I'm like, I need to fucking just get back to having fun again.
Yeah.
Dude, I lost getting actually excited to go work out. I lost getting, like, you just get like lost in the sauce in a sense. You're just fucking.
I don't think what you mean.
You get burnt, bro. You get burnt. And you're like, dude, fuck all this shit. Like, I just need to chill.
Bro, it's the weirdest thing ever because don't you remember being in your 20s and you would see like the older guys? You'd be like, bro, how can you not, like, after they retire, right? And you're like, bro, he stopped working out? How the fuck you stop working? What's wrong with you? Like, why would you just stop? Or somebody retires young, right? Let's say Ian. People, what the fuck? Why would you retire? And it's like, you don't understand it until you're at that point of your life where like there's so much going on, so much for you to think about, and you're not having fun. And Ian kept saying that I'm not having fun. Like, I'm dreading to go work out. It's like, that's weird. And it's like, you don't understand what that feels like until you feel it. And you're like, bro, this is weird. Like, how come this is not fun, right? You turn it from something fun into like all this pressure and like it's the weirdest thing, bro. You would never think you would be in that position where but we love it so much. Like, there was a time every workout, you could be hungry, you could be tired, and all day you're thinking about going to the gym and just to work out after you already feel like shit,
That's what happened. This has been building for a couple of years. I've been kind of like you and I've talked. We've been in and out, like, here and there.
Yeah.
And then recently I was speaking to my wife and I talked to Dom, and Dom didn't do anything, but I left Dom. So my wife coached me for my last show.
Yeah.
And it was probably the coolest prep I ever had. It was probably it became fun.
Yeah.
And just getting back with a coach, if I'm not doing it like you guys are saying 100%, my mind is all fucked. Like, if I don't do it 100%, I'm like, I'm not doing things correctly. I'm not. So it's a different kind of mindset, but that stresses me out too. You're telling me a potato is different than rice?
We were just talking about that.
We were just talking.
Oh, really? Like, that's so I had to take this fucking thing, and I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, dude, I'm fucking myself up. Like, I'm putting all this pressure on me. Ain't no one putting pressure on me. No one gives a fuck if I compete or not. I mean, Alyssa DM me like, what the fuck you doing? But that's a handful of people, let's just say, that really care, like, hey, you gonna compete or not? Yeah. It's whatever you feel is best for you. And I think we all kind of go through that at a certain point.
It's a wild feeling because see, the discipline is there, so we don't need motivation to go through the movements, right? We can go through the movements all day, but it's different. So it's like my discipline, like I'm prepping right now, 100% on plan. Boom, my workouts are intense, but am I enjoying it, bro? I can't say I am, and it's weird, bro, because I'm like, why isn't it fun right now? But it doesn't mean, like, same with you. If you decide to prep right now, you could prep, no problem, and you wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's not like you're gonna cheat on your fucking. You're still gonna train hard because you still are right now. You're still gonna do everything perfect, but mentally, it's not fulfilling. You're like, okay, I'm doing it, but I don't have that same X factor. Like, this is so much fun. I'm gonna kill it. You don't have that feeling. You're just doing it, and it's kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of a weird feeling.
I think when you're in that spot, I think it's good to take a step back and to go back to the basics. Think about, man, I just really like training. Yeah, like, let me go have fun. And by fun for me is like, actually, I bought smelling salts. So I've been fucking with this smelling salt lately. And I'm like, man, let me buy some real strong shit because I've been having fun actually getting stronger. Honestly, for the last 4 months, I haven't gotten stronger at all. In the past couple of weeks, and I've done nothing different. I haven't added anything to my program. I haven't changed shit. I'm getting strong because my mindset of just, let's have fun. I got no pressure. So I think when we start to put all this pressure, like for for you, if you're not having fun right now, don't even think about like, I got to do North Americans. I got to do, man, just get meal one done, and then go to meal two and just get that one done. And sometimes what I look at, bro, is like, motherfuckers got no legs, and people go through cancer, and people got really fucked up shit going on in their lives. And sometimes I'll put myself in, like, that could happen to any of us.
Yeah.
So let me enjoy this moment, and let me just enjoy this time that I have. That you never know when this thing's going to get ripped away from you, if it could, you know.
This is true. This is true.
So, yeah.
There was an interview with Flex Wheeler. He was talking about that. He used to look at his legs and be like, oh my God, my legs suck. I don't got no separation. And then now he's looking, he's like, bro, that leg is beautiful. I fucking have a leg, motherfucker. He's like, that shit is, he was like, I'm looking at my leg and I'm like, it was beautiful. Like, and now I look and I'm like, bro, it's not even there for me to be, you know? So it's like, when you have it, you just complain about it, take it for granted. But like your body, bro, our bodies have put up with us for the last 10, 15 years. And we haven't been that kind to our bodies, though. Let's be real. We haven't been very kind. And it's put up with us. And my body is pretty fucking healthy, bro. Like, all things considered, I'm like, damn, that's pretty impressive. You did your thing, bro. Your body, it wasn't me. It was my body just took it, you know? But it's like, you gotta respect that and be like, that's what's up, you know? So we gotta be, but one thing I do like when I watch Alyssa, yes, I'm sure she has days where she doesn't feel good and shit, but she does it her way. And I think that's what makes it fun. Like, she's doing it yes, she has a coach, but she's still doing it her way at the end of the day. She's training her way. She's not trying to, because I know for us, like, sometimes we like, I got to bring my legs up, so let me slow reps and let me try all this shit. But it's not fucking fun. But we're like, I just want to bring it up. Fuck the fun. Once you say fuck the fun, though, it's like, then why are you even doing it?
So,
you know,
I think doing it your own way, and this is what these are the conversations me and my wife have, like, at night. We'll be in this like weird like limbo stage of like going to bed, and then we get into this fucking hour conversation of like life, you know. But a lot of it pertains to bodybuilding, but doing it your own way. Listen, at the end of the day, the 6 judges are going to judge you on what they think is best for their standards. Sometimes their standards are not the right standards, to be honest, and I'll say that. So you have to accept whatever end result happens at the end of that show. But if you did everything your way and you did it exactly how you wanted to, and you were so happy with how you looked and you didn't win, that should be the win, because you did it your way. You didn't have to listen or do anything to please anyone else but yourself. Not even to please one follower on your Instagram. Like, fuck everyone. You have to go through everything, and you got to be the one to suffer the consequences at the end of this journey. And hopefully there's none. But you're the only one that's going to be left with it. So if you have to go through some shit at the end of this, man, fuck it. I did it my way. Like, fuck everybody.
This is fact.
You know,
well, it's crazy you say that, because the people actually winning are doing it their way. Like, Samson did everything wrong, right? Your wife is gonna coach you? Oh my God! Oh, what the fuck are you doing? You're gonna do France? Fucking, you know, everything was wrong, right? Like, he did. Why would you do the Arnold? What if you lose? It's like he literally did everything completely against the grain, and it worked out for him, right? But part of it is he also enjoyed it. Why would you leave Milos? What, you could say all this shit, but at the end of the day, he did it his way, and he still won. So for us to act like you have to do it this way we visualize to be a champion, it's not that way. I was talking to Alyssa before you hopped on about that. Like, last year, that's what I did. I wanted to follow everything perfectly to the. Hey, what's up, Sadiq?
Yo, what's going on, guys?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
What's up, man?
What's up, Sid?
You got the 4K, 8K camera over there. You know what's funny? I don't remember which podcast it was, but we were talking about Bob, and I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, Bob is still the best one for the job. And then somebody said, I think Stu said, I think Sid is better. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, not to compare, but I think Sid is the best fucking like announcer of the show. You know,
If I do it, I would love for do a show that you're doing because I like the way you present everyone's name.
it's different. It's
I
different.
love it.
No, I appreciate that. No, look, I appreciate that. Those are very kind words. Bob is still the best. Bob is the standard. I mean, for what it's worth, right? You don't stay the Olympia MC for going on 20, 21 years if you're not the best of the best as far as MCing. I mean, pre-Bob used to have like this rotation of MCs, right? You know, you'd have someone who would do it 2-3 years, somebody else would do it 2-3 years. So to be synonymous with the Olympia, to be synonymous with when he speaks, you know, it's a big event. So that is saying something. So yeah, I mean, look, I've had plenty of conversations with people who've asked me about the Olympia, yada, 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 and I've always given the same response. Those decisions are way beyond my control. B, that's Bob's job, right? And I don't speak on anyone else's job. And then the third part of it is Bob isn't there by accident. He's great at what he does, whether you want to pick at his suits, pick at his jokes, or whatever the case be. The day that he steps aside, and I mark my words, mark this down, the day that Bob steps aside and whoever replaces him, it could be me, it could be 5-6 other names, I'm telling you, you're going to have a huge contingent of bodybuilding fans are going to be like, ooh, it's not Bob up there. It's not the same. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you, enjoy while you still have Bob as the MC of the Olympia or these big shows, whatever, because the day that he goes, I'm telling you, it's going to be a huge, huge void and huge, huge shoes to fill, you know?
For sure. Yeah. You know, Bob is incredible. Like his voice alone, for years, I'm like, I've never heard a voice like that in the bodybuilding scope. So I'm like, just on a voice point, I didn't think anybody could replace him. But I will say, you're the only one that could match him voice to voice, at least. Right? The guy that
as well. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. The guy that did the Arnold. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name. You know what I'm talking about.
David Bay, who I thought did a great job, by the way. Yeah.
I thought he did a phenomenal job. The only thing, like you said, when you don't have somebody with that voice, like a Bob or yourself, he doesn't have the voice that kind of, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like that host voice, the voice that like a bellow voice, and yeah, you can't do anything about that though. You either have it or not. But like the way he facilitated the show was perfect, actually.
Look, I thought he did a masterful job. That's not an easy spot to be put in. And from my understanding, that was not to say that it was a last minute thing, but it was not exactly something that he had months to prepare for, if you know what I mean. So, given those circumstances and just again, the magnitude of the show that it is, worldwide audience, you're talking about, again, a free live stream. So the eyes of the bodybuilding world are on you. I thought he did a great job. He did a great job conducting the show, conducting the event. Again, we talk about a show versus an event. Right, there are shows and then there are events. The Arnold Classic is an event, and understanding how many, that if you screw up the slightest bit, a single, that's going to be amplified around the world. So for him to, go into this as a first time MC for for that kind of a show, I thought he did a phenomenal job. So
yeah, well, the funny part is people don't realize how much fuck ups there are with the actual show, not with the MC, and then. Arnold said that Bob talks too much, or he doesn't realize that he's filling in time that is not his fault that there's blank time, right? That's what Bob said. Bob said, "Wait, is y'all show? Why, the reason I'm filling in time is because shit might be happening." And so people don't even catch some of the slip ups because he does a phenomenal job covering it up by talking. And I personally think it's a good thing. I would rather you talk too much than not talk at all, right? As the MC.
Well, I mean. Look, I would say this. What Bob does a really great job of is he sets the tone of the event. Like, again, I say event versus show. Like, the Olympia is not a contest. It's an event. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a huge difference. When I did the Detroit Pro, at the very, very, very beginning, I went maybe a little longer than I should have as far as the intro, but a lot was happening at that time, right? You have I felt there was a need to address the fact that there was just so much damn negativity in bodybuilding right now. So that's why I kind of give my spiel about that and how, again, for competitors that are going to be up here, these are IFBB pros. And to attain that kind of, status for a bodybuilder is no easy task. So, and again, I kind of reminded the fans, like, look, for the fans in Detroit and for the fans watching around the world, understand what you're watching. Understand that you are watching future Olympians, that you are watching, the best of the best in the world competing on the stage. So it's one thing for us to just kind of magnify, our view of the first call out, right? That, oh, it's Grego and his Vissers for the win. Take a look at the other guys, see what they have to offer, especially like in a division like Classic Physique where everybody seems to bring a different type of package, right? Appreciate it for a second before we just go right into the analysis. This guy was off, that guy this, I've seen him better elsewhere. So, but generally speaking, for a pro show, right? Again, pro show versus, say, Olympia or Arnold, I'm a little quicker, and most MCs are a little quicker to get to the event, right? Quicker to get the bodybuilders out on stage. So that's why I said, like, what Bob does and what he makes look effortless for the Olympia, he's setting the tone for bodybuilding's biggest event. And yes, there are many times in his earpiece, he's being told, Bob, stretch a little bit, Bob, give some shout outs or whatever, see who's in the crowd or whatever. And I thought, again, it's the same thing for what David Bay, had to navigate at the Arnold Classic. But again, the big difference is Bob's been doing this for 20 plus years. David, yes, he's been emceeing other shows, but Arnold Classic, that was his first one. So again, it was different because we're all so accustomed to Bob Chiccarolo, his voice, him saying "and still" or "and new," in the Bob isms. So, but again, that's why I thought David stepping into what was a fairly difficult situation. I thought he did a great job. Look, next year, I think he will have found his bearings a little bit more in terms of delivering a little bit more of his own signature, effect, signature lines, some of the things that is going to allow him to, again, we talk about voice, is going to allow him to amplify his voice a little bit more. I think this show, he wanted to make sure that he got all the P's and Q's right, which I thought he did. And I thought he did a great job conducting what was not an easy show to conduct. You know what I mean?
Correct. So, I don't think any of us been to Detroit. Have you guys been to Detroit, Elizabeth?
Oh.
Okay. So you haven't having probably the best seats in the house, right, or the best stands in the house. What did you think about the overall production, the lighting, everything altogether, in comparison to other shows?
No, so to give some context, one of the shows that I've emceed, right, to this point, I've emceed a bunch of Texas shows, so including the Texas Pro. I did the live play-by-play for the Dubai Pro, and then emceeing the Detroit Pro. Again, I'm spoiled in the sense that I'm working with producers, promoters that really put a lot of effort not only into the show but into making sure that show, and I know Alyssa could speak to this, is really catering to the athletes, right? Like Texas Pro. That show, things that there's a whole checklist for, what an athlete wants going in a show, but then they just go be above and beyond. So I look at it from that perspective, but then I also look at it from the fan perspective and the energy of the crowd. And the energy of the crowd is really dictated by what you're providing them. And I mean that for the athlete's perspective, but then also the show, the content, the production that you're putting forward. And so look, when it comes to Texas, we know Freddie Nadeau, and then what we just saw with Detroit, Fuad, this is the best of the best. And so just to give you specifics as far as Texas goes, again, everybody talks about the lighting, the background, and those things were completely on point, right? You look at some of the pictures, some of the videos of, again, the matchup between William Bonac, Sas Herati. You look at Wesley Vissers and Matt Grego. Look at the photos, look at the video, and tell me you're not able to see literally every single crevice of their physique, every single, fiber. It's crazy. I mean, William Bonac from the Prejudging the Night show, literally is as if he put on an additional 2 pounds. When he went into his most muscular at the night show, with, again, what his added size was from Prejudging the Night show, and then with that backdrop and with that lighting, it was like watching a man explode on stage. It was nuts. So yes, all the talk of the lighting and just the way that it perfectly hit the physiques and with that backdrop, you can't say enough for how effective that was and really how much it amplified the physiques that these guys brought to the stage. And I will say this also, to their credit, the athletes' credit, everybody was on. This was one of the most entertaining shows, top to bottom, classic and open, that I could see in recent memory, where just everybody brought it. I mean, even the guys that were placing, that did not place, rather. I mean, you could say great things about what they brought, or little things where, if he changes this, changes that, he could be placing much more competitively at another show. Yeah, you got to look at William. I mean, I don't know if this is prejudging of the night show, but like I was talking to Martin Fitzwater after the show, and Martin and William are tight. So William was telling him, I had a couple of meals, I had the slightest bit of water, and for William, his physique is such where an added pound or two makes all the difference in the world. I mean, you saw how he popped in finals or whatever. So, and then I will say this too, also for the Detroit crowd. If you haven't been to this show, you definitely should go next year. This crowd is fanatical. They were literally into it the entire time. There was this one competitor, Ronald Gordon. Now, the really cool thing, what happened at the show, Ronald goes, so an athlete checks in and they give their music selection, right, for the finals, whatever. Ronald comes to us and says, I don't want music, prejudging, or finals. I want to literally pose to the crowd's, applause. That's literally what he told us. So Fuad and the Fuad and the DJ were like, I don't know if that's gonna work. Is this really gonna happen? Just this has potential to be a disaster. But it was perfect, man. The crowd got behind him. They were literally clapping. And how like you had a soccer game where like somebody's about to take a corner kick and you have the crowd like, oh, that kind of a thing. They were doing that for like when he was setting up, going into his poses or whatever. So really, really cool. But the energy of the crowd is phenomenal. And so, like I said, between Detroit, between Texas, I mean, as far as shows that I've worked, I'm absolutely spoiled with the production, with the crowd, which the elements that make the show happen or whatever. So if you haven't been to either one of those shows, I highly recommend going to the next one.
Yeah, man. Insane show. I mean, even for the amateurs, people were flying out across the country just to do the amateur show.
Kyle from the Supers, he did the Arnold Amateur, and then he went to that show. I saw him do that. That was pretty cool. There's a lot. Actually, the amateurs they look good.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle is gonna be one of the top guys in the Supers all year long. And he went to do basically like a local show as far as the amateurs go. And then somebody posted a comparison, Bonac from 2019 versus now, versus Detroit. And in my head, I was like, this is probably the best we've seen since then. Watching the comparison, there's in a lot of ways he's better. You could judge it. Okay, his waist was smaller back then. I'll say that. He had more of like a bubbliness, but he definitely bigger. Like he was a lot more muscular, which I didn't even notice that he put on actual tissue because it didn't appear like it. The past few years he was a little bit. I think he was a little downsized. Right now he's actually more muscular and almost maybe not quite as sharp, but almost there. So depending on how you judge it with today's standards, where they are going for some more fullness and maybe not as. I don't think you have to be as peeled as you had to be back in 2015 to 2018-ish. So with this new look for this era, he's just as good, if not better in some places, which is insane to even think about.
Well, look at who he had to outlast in the finals. Sas Hirati. Sas, for those that have not seen this guy in person, or I mean, again, even with the live stream because it was so accurate, just as far as capturing his physique, he was peeled to the bone. This guy brought in all the years that I've been going to bodybuilding shows in person, some of the best level of conditioning I have ever seen. He was so on point. And if it not for someone like a William Bonac, who was he 7th at this past Olympia, not someone of that ilk, Sas walks away with the Olympia qualification. Now we're going to see him again on stage next weekend in Germany at the FIBO. So it's going to be him versus Sergio. But the level of conditioning that this guy brings, man, it is, and there are no gaps. There's nothing missing. So William, again, as great as William was, I almost feel as if he had to be that great to hold this guy at bay because he's so good that William in prejudging, and there were times where I'm like, is William a little off here, a little off there? Oh, you look at the abs or whatever, but then it's just only because Sauce, his abs, his midsection. I mean, you look at the tie-ins, he's so freaking complete, man. He's hard as nails. But you're right. Look, again, if you're going on a matter of preference, or I mean, again, I know direction has been dispelled over and over again, but a matter of preference. If you wanted the more conditioned guy, maybe you would have been leaning towards Sauce. But come finals, dude, William brought like another layer of muscle that there's no way Sauce or really anyone in that top 10 to top 15 in the world was going to be able to compete with. So, but this guy, I'm telling you, you're going to see him next week. And for what it's worth, I mean, even Sergio, you've been seeing his recent progress pictures, videos. Sergio looks at an all-time, maybe even better than when he won the New York Pro back in, 16, I think. But this is going to be quite the battle. So I'm going to be there, fortunately, very fortunately, in Germany for this. So I'm going to get a great view of this. But, that battle for that Olympia spot is going to be epic, man. And I'm telling you, this guy is going to bring it. He's got in the IFBB circuit right now in the open class amongst the top 15. I mean, this guy has arguably, I mean, if I had to go on a limb, top 5, top 6 level of conditioning that I've ever seen, off the active pros right now.
Yeah. Hey, did any of y'all have Sass winning?
I think Alyssa did.
No,
No,
not like before. I mean, like during, like when the show was over. Did anybody would anybody have picked Sauce if you were a judge? No.
I'm still going Bonac.
Okay. Well, so Sass did the Cal in I was there, but I'm trying to remember what year it was. I think it was 2018. Okay, yeah, 2018, and he took second, right? It was him and Nathan.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So before that, I kept hearing like some of the UK guys talking about Sauce, and then when I would look at the pictures, honestly, I didn't really get it. I was like, well, he looks good, he's in shape, but I felt like maybe he's a little undersized, maybe his arms are not that good. But in person, like Sid just said, the amount of detail that he has, and just his shape. I don't think videos and pictures do him justice. I think in the videos, it appears that maybe he's not as muscular, or maybe some of his body parts, like his upper body, is a little, but the detail in the pop in person, I think once you see him in person, you get it. You get why anybody who sees him in person rates him so high. He has a level of detail that even the best footage can't even get. And some people are like that. Like Dexter. Sometimes you look at the picture, you're like, I think this guy should have beat him. But when you're there in person, you're like, it's a different look,
No, and the thing about Dexter, what was so, unique to him is that, again, he was never going to be the biggest guy on stage, right? But with what he brought in terms of conditioning and completeness, if you were slightly off, he would make you look bad, right? And I think that's the best thing I could say about Sauce. What I thought he brought to this past Detroit Pro. Again, there were literally no gaps, totally complete level of conditioning. But again, when you're going up against someone like William, who again, Beatty, for all the attributes that you listed about Bonac 2019 to now, his legs. Think about it. Have you ever seen anyone who, I don't want to say lost his legs, but the legs were downsized, but then bring them back and then bring back even better like he has over the last 10, 15 years?
No, legs are usually gone by the time most people hit 40 or past 40, and the legs just, the sweep starts to go. I mean, his did go for like a year or two, and then they just came back. Dexter did it 1 year when he went against Luke at one of the shows. I forget what show it was. It was Tampa. It was like it
was Tampa, I think.
Tampa.
The Tampa. But that show, he came in fuller than usual because I guess he was going against Luke, right? So it was more like a quick fix. Whereas with Bonac, he's done it for the past couple of shows. So I think he actually put back on muscle, which is insane.
And think about it, he also took time off. He took about 13 months off. Remember, like he won the Boston Pro. What was that? 2019, 2-3 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he took 13 months off. So I mean, again, I don't know what age he is. I have to imagine he's probably early 40s, if not
42.
something like that, around that. Yeah. Again, like you said, at this age, very impressive to see someone keep their legs, let alone come back with even better legs. But then on top of that, when you factor in just over a year off the scene completely, come back from that, and yet still maintain. I mean, let's be real. Right now, he's still world class, right? I mean, you're
100%.
talking about 8 months removed from a top 7 at the Olympia, and I would go as far as to say he was better at the Detroit Pros. This is someone who's still going to be very, very dangerous come October.
100%. And Sauce isn't a spring chicken either. He took fucking like 5-6 years off.
6 years.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Sauce turned pro close to 30. Like, so let's say if he turned pro in 2016-ish around area, and he was already pushing 30, Sauce is probably late 30s, bro. Sauce is probably 38, 39, and he's like a new guy again, right? Which is crazy. But I think Sauce's physique at Detroit, just like Bonak, I think it was better than when I saw him in 2018. I mean, he's bigger.
100%. 100%. Look, I would go as far as to tell you this. Okay, will I get certain physique updates, right? Yeah, I will. That I'm not going to post, obviously, on RX Muscle. I'm looking at him and I'm like, dude, like, unless Bonak is completely, dialed, bringing that pop, Sauce could win the show, right? But again, those are pictures, right? But then when you actually see them next to one another, this was, and I was there at that New York Pro, what was back in like 17 or 18. That's a different bodybuilder. Now, granted, look, life takes different chapters, different turns. Again, he started a family, this, that. I know he has a gym up in I think Manchester. So again, sometimes it's like, all right, yeah, you're still a bodybuilder, but just you're not competing. And I know obviously last year he made his mind. He was going to go back into the competitive circuit. But the look that I just saw this past weekend was that was a completely different, completely next level bodybuilder than what you and I saw back in 2018. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is someone that, again, he's knocking on the door, right? We don't know what Sergio's going to bring, right? Now, Sergio can come and light the world on fire and slam the door shut next week in Germany, and he gets his Olympia qualification. But, at least with Sass, we just saw it, right? So at least we know what that bar is, and that bar is pretty high. So I'm excited to see what we're going to see next weekend in Germany, because that should be. To be honest with you, I don't even know who else is even in the show. I know there were rumors that Bonak might have jumped into that show, but he's going to do Pittsburgh, and I mean, holy crap, that show is going to be epic. I mean, you saw yesterday. I'm sure you guys have already discussed Good Vito.
No, we didn't even get to that.
Oh, you didn't get it out? The only thought that I had yesterday, I mean, look, we knew he was going to win, right? Leandro Perez, it's very, 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 very good bodybuilder. But Good Vito, to me, is in that class of the elite. I truly think that. And after what we saw yesterday, now I'm like, for me, this sets up what we are potentially going to see in 5 weeks. And that is, again, you're talking about a year removed, Mr. Olympia, Derek. Martin, world's number 4, Nick Walker, Crizzo, who, by the way, I don't feel like we're talking enough about. And then, Bonak, who, again, I thought maybe he brought his best look ever a week ago. I'm very curious to see how this guy's going to stack up against it, because, again, we talk about complete, he's complete. We talk about mass, he's got mass. Talk about size, he's got size. Talk about deep striations. What is he missing?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I remember early on, I just wasn't sold on Vito. I thought he was kind of like an Instagram kind of bodybuilder, because there would be so much filters and shit. And I'm like, this looks Photoshop or something. Something's not right. And then honestly, I would argue he looks better. He looks better to me on stage than he does even in pictures. Like, he actually looks bigger than I thought he would be. Because I'm like, I don't think he can be that big. But I'm like, no, he's actually that big. But to be honest.
Look at those legs. I mean, you're telling me that's not literal, like, some of the best set of legs in the world right now?
I mean, yeah, and if we factor in not just size but separation, and this is not even him, because this is maybe still like what 90%, because I know he's gonna get more peeled than this because I've seen his quads feather even more. Not that I mean this is more than enough, obviously, but I'm sure he's gonna be even more peeled than this. So if we factor in separation, size, detail, all of that, yeah, definitely maybe top three legs. He has the glutes, he has the hamstrings. He has everything, man. So, yeah, Vito is impressive. He barely lost to Martin last year, and we're talking about a Martin that went on to almost defeat Nick and get top 4. So, anytime you can give somebody a run for their money, who's literally a top 5 guy in the world, I mean, what does that say about you? You know, what does that say about you? Who? Let's start with Alyssa. Who can't Vito beat? Like in the top 8ish.
Yeah. Well, I'm only thinking about like the Pittsburgh. I mean, is he gonna beat
It's gonna
Nick?
be hard.
Mm.
That's gonna be the tough part. That's gonna be tough.
Well,
Did you see Nick's recent updates?
No, let me pull it up.
From today, yeah.
You got some good ones.
Yeah, his waist looks pretty small from the back, but he had posted some pictures in the basement where his parents live, and he's pretty conditioned.
Yo, this is the OG. This is the Nick I know from Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Posing under the old spot. Yeah, I gotta be honest. Like, I never thought Nick's waist was that bad. I think there's poses that it can look bad, and I think when he's like carved up too much, I think last year he was a bit over carved. I'll say that. But when Nick is spot on, like when we see him when he won the Arnold and shit, boy, I don't think his waist is as bad as people make it seem. He doesn't have a waist like Martin. He doesn't have a waist like Vito. He doesn't. But this is not like this is not like some of the people speak as if his waist is cringe. If his waist is cringe, he would never have won the Arnold to begin with. You know, if your waist is really shitty, you don't win big shows at all. I think for compared to some of the top guys, he doesn't have a Lunsford or Hardy waist, but it's not bottom of the barrel like people make it seem. I think he has a really good front double bicep. Actually, I think front and back double. Look, his waist, even from behind, bro. This actually looks really good. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but look at his taper here.
Oh yeah, I think I read somewhere where what's his name, Jared Feather or someone said that they reduced basically like heavy straight leg deadlifts or heavy anything hip hinging. They reduced the heavy loads. Or I read something.
That.
So I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah. No.
Go ahead.
Nah, I was just saying Nick loves deadlifts. Like he loves fucking deadlifts and 5 plates. But yeah, that might not be the best thing.
I'll say this, Alyssa. I have taken those out of my programming because I feel a lot of pressure in my waist, in my stomach. I wouldn't say, just like in my core, just how much tension that I used to feel like with squatting, just blown out, like just in that region. So I wonder if that really does play a factor. I've always thought about that for people deadlifting, and so it's very interesting. I think that's what we're going back to. We're talking about building the physique that you actually want, right? You don't have to do everything that all these scientific anecdotal people come out with. I know there's a big thing nowadays where like, well, if you take the geometry of this exercise and you twist it this way and you put it here and you calculate, it's like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, you guys work out, or do you guys just sit there and,
Well, how many people have you seen where insane lower back erectors have a tiny waist? Realistically, the two things, it's hard for the two things to coincide. It's really difficult, right? I mean, I guess you could say, well, I could look at Ronnie. As Ronnie's like lower back got denser, his waist didn't get better, right? I mean, it usually doesn't. Same with Dorian. I mean, Dorian never had a tiny waist, but if you look at Dorian against Lee Haney, his first Olympia, versus as his lower back really got dense, his waist obviously didn't get better. So it's like right? The two things they don't go hand in hand. Having a crazy dense lower back and huge erectors, right? You see like Kai and Bonak, like their lats almost touch their ass, right? Super low inserts, super thick low back. I don't even know if you can call that low back because it's literally like their lats, but still, you're probably not good.
What about like a Nathan Diaz or Ross Flanagan? Their lower backs are crazy.
Yeah, Nathan's lower back, it looks a little weird nowadays. But his waist didn't get smaller though. Like if we're being honest, he has a long torso, so he has more space for it to go. But if you look at his waist, it's not super tiny anymore, like the way it used to be. If that makes sense, right? You know, so I'm not saying your waist is going to be bad, but it's not going to improve as your lower back. Right? Your waist doesn't get smaller as your back gets bigger usually. You know, so
but also Alyssa does do heavy
she has a
fucking
really good waist.
So
She has, yeah, that's a good point.
You know, what are you doing those 160 dumbbells? Fuck, what you got going on over there?
Stop it, yeah,
Bro. I watch her do that. I'm like, I can't do that. All right, I'll throw out my fucking back doing that.
Shit, I mean, the best combo, I guess you would say Lunsford. Lunsford's lower back isn't his best part of his back, but his back is pretty fucking dense for his waist, man. I gotta be honest. That's a crazy back, you know. Do you guys think it's even close? Do you guys think there's anybody close to Lunsford as far as low back? I mean, low back. as far as his back.
I think he's got the most dominant back in bodybuilding right now. I think historically, at least, you know, the upper back, you know, you compare him against the best backs ever. I mean,
I agree.
When you watch Derek train, you're not gonna find anyone's back that looks like that. Like when he's doing those T-bar rows,
yeah.
crazy.
So it's like in the back double by itself. I don't. If you look at the combination, I can't think of a back double much better than that. Not just like Phil's is thicker, Ronnie is thicker,
right? Yeah, that was the only natural comparison that I was going to bring to you, Phil. I mean, as far as the back, but I mean,
but if you look at the taper and the lat insertions and the waist, like if you look at everything, like from aesthetics to thickness to detail to everything, he can stand toe to toe with anybody in the back double.
What about Keon?
I still think he beats Keon in density. That's the only one he beats in density. I think Keon had a really pretty back double, you know. But Keon's back is up there. Like Keon is no slouch in the back. It's just that Derek has so much depth and taper, and it's insane. It's really insane, you know. The only thing is that if you say back in total, you have to put the back lat spread, and I think the reason why maybe Ronnie or Phil could edge him out is because even just standing relaxed, their back is thick.
Yeah.
And then Derek's lat spread, even though it's really good, I don't think it's fucking with like Dorian's lat spread or Ronnie's lat spread or Phil's lat spread. Back double though, I think he can battle any one of them, potentially beating them actually. You know, it's hard to give a new guy to say the new guy has the best anything because it hurts. People don't like to hear that. You know, nobody wants the new guy to be better than somebody in any pose, right? But if we're just being subjective, like really break it down, I've seen a bunch of comparisons, and he just has a lot of dimensions to the back that we have actually never seen before, you know.
And then if you look at what he just brought to the Arnold Classic, right? I mean, it's again, if we're talking about the overall illusion, right? I mean, again, we talk about somebody who brought their legs back up. Olympia to Arnold Classic, his legs are significantly up, and that just creates that. And his waist, he's managed to maintain a teeny waist for a guy that carries that much muscle. So just that overall illusion, you know, when he really opens up that back double, it was just. I mean, again, we talk about aesthetics, but when you're talking about just pure size, pure mass, coupled with, you know, those tweaks again with his waist staying the way that it is, the legs, you know, having a little bit more beef, whatever, at the Arnold versus the Olympia. No, he's dangerous. He's very dangerous. You Yeah, this was, I think, pre-judging, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think he doesn't get a lot of credit for his actual like shape, structure, his aesthetics, right? Because he happens to be going against Samson, who's more known for that. But I mean, he's very aesthetic.
No, you know, and it's funny because remember what was it, 2022, his first year in the Open, and when he finished second to Hottie. I remember when he first came out for his individuals, there were a couple of poses. Well, one was a back double, but then the other one with his front lat spread. I don't. If you guys were there or if you're watching the live stream, the crowd, there was an audible like, ooh, ah. You see, again, first of all, there was a fascination as far as, okay, what was he going to look like going 212 to the Open? But then when you saw the kind of mass that he possessed, maintaining those proportions, I think that's where you knew, all right, this guy is going to be an immediate threat, in the Open class. But to see, what were we now, 3.5 years later, and the shape that he just brought to the Arnold Classic, we talk about the density where he should have density, but then again with the proportions that he's bringing in, I just thought that he had more, aside from all the attributes, deep striations, more of a grainy look, which I think with him we haven't seen yet. And look at the side leg. I mean, dude, this was impressive, and this is even more impressive in person. So I'm saying when he came out for finals, you knew it was close. I didn't know if it was 1 point Samson, 1 point Derek. I knew it was close. But when he came out for finals, I'm like, Samson's going to have to bring something truly special. Otherwise, this title's his.
Seeing Lunsford at the Olympia and how much legs he loses from the beginning, from 212.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why he left 212.
Yeah, and it would always be like Derek looks in the offseason like he has some of the best legs in the game, and you never see it on stage. So I would think like he must be coming in flat all the time, even in the Open. I'm like, we must have never seen him full because you can't lose those legs unless it's extremely flat. And I think we finally saw him not flat for the first time, and we're like, what the fuck,
Right, and if you go back to, remember like in the early days, right? I'm talking 2019. Remember, it was him and Kamal. Yeah. But Derek, again, if you talk to him about the reasons why he left 212, one of the reasons was someone that carries that much size, that much mass, even though fine, he previously profiled as a 212 bodybuilder, dieting down from where he was all season to where he was pre-contest to eventually getting into that 212 frame. That's a process that you cannot do without sacrifices, right? Without losing muscle, there's bound to be something to go wrong. And then 2019, again, you look at his prejudging to his finals, and what won it for Kamal. Kamal was great. Kamal was that was the most lights out we've ever seen Kamal. But for Derek, to his own admission, he was holding a lot of water, especially in his back. Why? Because again, he was always with that back and forth, that struggle of trying to squeeze into that 212 frame, where there are mistakes bound to happen. Even the year before that, where he finished second to Flex, you saw him about 6 weeks out, and he was like, "Oh my God, this guy's actually going to give Flex a run for his money." But then, again, it's like he came in a little flat, and Flex is Flex. Flex is most dominant 212er of all time. No mistakes, came in complete, and I mean it was a runaway. So I think this division just suits him so much more perfectly. His body wants to grow, and now he's learning his body as an Open class. And I think, from the first couple of years to what we just saw at the Arnold Classic, he's only gotten better and better. So I mean, again, that's what leads for me to say it's funny because we just had the Arnold Classic. Olympia is not till October. You could very well make the argument that this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro is going to be maybe the most competitive non-Olympia, non-Arnold of all time, right? With this generation, and I mean some of the best of the generation that are going to feature at this show.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Are you going to be there, Sid?
Yeah, I'm actually. Dave just booked his hotel room, so I'm going to do the same. Get my flights and everything together. But yeah, no, I'm very excited, and then, obviously they're gonna do it up big, right? They're gonna have an expo as well, so I'm very excited. I think we talk about the Olympia and the Arnold, and I mean beyond that, yeah, every other show is a pro show, right? We talk about events. This is going to be an event, so I'm very excited. But you're talking about, again, prize money. First place is going to win $100,000. So yeah, when you do that, you are going to get some of the best in the world lining up to compete. And the eyeballs that are going to be on that show is going to be nuts. So I'm excited, and you have to imagine. Look, I think for anybody questioning, like, okay, Derek, was it a smart move to jump into the show given that you're still going to have to peak months? Like, I still think you have plenty of time between this show and October to still shut it down and do what you need to do to bring it back up. So, again, you're talking about the world's number 4, Martin. Derek, who you, by the way, saw in that one-on-one at the Olympia on Saturday night, which was one of the more exciting moments for me at this past Olympia. And look, for Nick Walker, this is the redemption moment, right? You suffer an injury 2 Olympias ago, where, let's be real, as off as everybody was in prejudging, how many people said to themselves, "Man, if Nick was in this show," because that's one thing you could say about Nick. Generally speaking, you never see him come in off, right? That's kind of been his calling card. So, but then suffering the injury, backing out last year, this is a redemption moment for him. Obviously, we just saw Crizzo, lost in the shuffle. Crizzo suffered a major shoulder injury just 10 months ago, rehab, and now you see his progress pictures. The guy looks nuts, and he's truly one of the quote unquote mass monsters that we have in this era. So to see him against that lineup, that's going to be exciting. And then what we just saw out of Good Vito, and then what we just saw out of Bonak a week and a half ago, that's what I'm saying. This stacks up where you're talking about a truly 7-8 deep lineup where it's like, holy crap, this could go in one of many different directions.
Facts.
So
and I'm sorry, one more thing. I'm sorry, I had to get this point in. The Arnold Classic generally in the show where like narratives are set, right? Like, okay, Derek beats Samson at this show, and now a narrative is set. Narratives, and those narratives are generally going to be set in cement up until the Olympia because the top guys are going to shut it down. Now we're getting this, epic, whatever, however many months it is till October. I can't do the math, but narratives are going to be set at this show. Storylines are going to be set at the show. What happens between Derek and Martin is going to dictate a lot of the conversation going forward. What happens between, Nick Walker and all these guys? What happens with Good Vito comes in and disrupts? That's going to be a storyline. So that's what I'm saying. That's what's so exciting about this show, because this could set us up for the next 7 months going into the Olympia.
Right. Alyssa, what was that?
What are your placings, Sadiq?
Shit, for Pittsburgh.
My placings? Oh my god!
Pittsburgh.
I don't know. The thing is, and this is why I was so happy to see again that call it. And that's what that's what everybody wanted to see between Derek and Martin. They have so much in terms of similarities, yet variations, right? Nick Walker is a totally different physique. You guys are just talking about Nick Walker. Nick Walker is never going to be somebody's most prettiest physique. We know that. But what he does bring is, when he's on, grainy hardness. He's brought up, look, his arms have always, I thought his front double has always been a strength. His most muscular has always been a strength. And I feel like now you're starting to see the legs pop a little bit, maybe a little bit more in the previous years. I think with him, you're never going to get the quote unquote pretty bodybuilder that I think what we're looking for when you're talking about someone like a Martin, someone like a Derek. Crizzo, for that matter. Crizzo's never going to be accused of being the most prettiest bodybuilder, but he's a freak. He's a mass monster. For me, I couldn't give you placings, but what I can say is this. I've disagreed with the notion of direction being disproven, because I think truly there is direction. And I think this show will set it forward. Obviously, look, you're not talking Hottie's not in the show, Samson's not in the show, but I do think Andrew Jack's not in the show. But I think you might get some quote-unquote direction coming out of the show, because now you're going to get a better idea of what they're looking at, right? Obviously, assuming everybody comes in on, then it's like, all right, well, Nick and Martin that's their rematch. Okay, was New York a fluke, or is Martin a better bodybuilder, or better bodybuilder at this moment? Heading 7 months out of the Olympia. Derek, it's like, all right, we just saw him maybe at his all-time best a month and a half ago. What if Martin bests him? What does that mean, right? And if he beats Martin, do you now look at him as like the odds-on? Obviously, right? Yeah, built in as the pre-show favorite for the Olympia against Samson as the top title threat to Samson. But okay, well, what would a win? What would a resounding win at this show mean for his prospects? So I think for me, it's more about the storylines that are going to come out of the show, and you'll get a better idea for what the judges, what the IFBB is looking at when you're talking about these different physiques, because you are getting a variety of physiques, maybe not in terms of the height, aside from Crizzo, but I think you are looking at a vast variety in physiques. So again, that's what makes this show exciting, because now you're going to see, where we stand minus Andrew, minus Samson, and minus Hadi 7 months out.
Hey Sid, go like this for a second. Let's put your hand. the something about your camera makes your hands look super small for some reason. You know you're gonna do it.
I have pretty medium-sized hands. I'm not gonna lie.
But like, look at how the camera makes my hands look versus your hands.
Yeah. I can kind of do this. There we go.
All right, let's see what we got. All right, let's look at the second place guy. I was actually more impressed than I thought I would be, if I'm being honest. The size and shape is pretty fucking impressive. What do you guys thought?
I actually like his physique better.
Like his overall physique, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Some people said that he was in better shape than I don't see that, but I wasn't there. But some people said he was in better shape than Vito. He definitely he didn't flex his glutes. I don't know why he didn't flex his. Okay, he flexed it here. Okay, he flexed it here. And prejudging, I don't know if you guys noticed that he just didn't. He posed like the 70s. He didn't flex his glutes at all for some reason. But I don't think he was in better shape than Vito.
Nah, I just like how his physique looks better. That's just me personally.
Yeah. I think he was bigger. Let's see the comparison. I think he was bigger than Crizzo.
Yeah. Well, he's a taller guy. Oh, yeah.
Oh shit! I mean, even he got way better line than his legs, but his legs are big too, man.
Yeah. That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, that's good. He's a bigger guy than Vito, but also some of Vito's poses aren't hit the best. He has huge lats in the front lat, but the way he sticks his stomach out, let me go back to it.
When he hits his front double, like his feet are somewhat pigeon-toed.
Why
I can't stop looking at it. I don't know. But
his quads
still look good, but they're still separated, so I can't knock them.
But most people, if they pointed their toes like that, like so forward, almost inward, their quads would look horrible.
Yeah,
fucked up. So that means his quads are huge, but I still don't think it's a good. I don't think it's a good way to pose, though. And in the back double, okay, he hit it better here, but prejudging, he was kind of pinching his back. He
drops down so hard in it, and he loses a little bit of size, I think.
Yeah,
like there he's standing tall in that.
Yeah.
As good as he looks, I think he could look even better, just posing wise.
I really like his physique though.
He has a crazy physique, yeah. But this guy is really good too. Actually, I'm really impressed with this guy.
What the hell?
He's going to be Pittsburgh as well. Leandro Perez.
Oh, okay. Dope,
yeah.
Dope, yeah. We're just now hearing about him for some reason, but
that's what I'm saying. So when that lineup was announced, was about 3 weeks ago, I think he was the one name that to the American audience was like, all right, like who is this guy? So I'm glad we got a chance to see him yesterday, and I thought again he acquitted himself well against, in my opinion, really probably what we're going to see at the Pittsburgh Pro, who's going to establish himself as one of the world's best, and good Vito. But I think, getting just as another later to the show. But yeah, I think Crizzo, again, it's so impressive. This guy's coming off an injury. But he looks phenomenal. Dude, his arms in person are freaking. I mean, you see them in videos, but again, you can play with the camera angles, whatever. But in person, this guy's arms are freaking like 3D, man. It's insane, huge.
Crazy looking.
Yeah, he's one of those people. I saw him at Gold's Venice before when he had came out here and
when he was with Jay.
Yeah, he I think he filmed with Jay that day.
Yeah.
He honestly looks more impressive in person. And it looks like he's better than he was before the injury. If I'm being honest.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. It looks like I don't even know which side the injury was on, but I don't think it matters because his arms look huge both sides. I think
his right shoulder.
His right shoulder. How high do you think he could place at the Olympia? Or who can't he beat? You think he can beat like a Hunter got seventh? Who got seventh? Hunter, right? I think Hunter got seventh.
Was it Bolnack?
Oh, maybe both. Who got sixth? Okay, Andrew got fifth, right? Wait, what the fuck am I talking about? Oh yeah, Martin got fourth. So Andrew got fifth.
Yeah, Martin.
Hunter got sixth.
It was Hunter sixth. Yeah, Andrew Jack fifth. Bonac seventh. Brandao eighth. Curry ninth. And Akeem 10th.
So can Crizzo slide past like a Brandao?
Yeah.
Brandao?
I think so.
I think so. I don't think he can slide past the Hunter though.
Nah.
Hunter's pretty. I mean, the way Hunter looked at the Olympia prejudging, man, shit. There was a chance he could have beat Andrew with that look, because Andrew is better genetically, but he wasn't on like Hunter was on, so.
Hunter's gotten bigger too. Give him credit. The guy is like he's put on like proper size. I mean, he's always been someone that we consider to be, again, an aesthetic bodybuilder, right? And I almost feel like sometimes it's kind of like, you're talking about a pitcher, and you're talking about somebody that could throw 99, and then somebody who's more of a quote-unquote control pitcher. And sometimes you look at when somebody says like, oh, well, they're aesthetic body. Well, what does that mean? He's put on size. I mean, you saw him at this past Olympia. Again, he was able to maintain that condition that we've, known him to, bring, whatever. With that additional size, I thought I was very impressed. I mean, I don't know if it gets much better than him as far as, what you're looking for, in that 5 to 7 range, for the Olympia.
Yeah. He was at the LA Fit Expo and he was off. He was in his health phase and he was still the biggest guy at the expo, And there was a lot of big guys there, to say the least. So, well, shout out to Hunter. What shows? He's not qualified, right? What shows? Yeah, he can't be qualified. He got
No, he can't.
He's doing. Did he say he's doing an Italy show, or was that last year?
That was last year, yeah.
That was last year.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I can't.
He hasn't done Texas in a while.
He did Texas 2 years ago, where he placed second to Andrew.
Wait, I think he said it. I think I just saw a video. Did he say it in the video? I think I was watching Joe's video. I don't know if Joe and Paul are in Texas, and they were talking to Hunter on camera. I don't know if they were supposed to record that, but I'm pretty sure he said it. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the video now. Yeah, I think he said it. It was him and Brett, and I think he said what shows he was doing, which I don't think I paid attention. Okay, well, I gotta go back and watch that because that's gonna be interesting, man. There's so much. First of all, you do Pittsburgh. Only one person is nobody's gonna qualify because Derek's probably gonna win. So then they got to go to New York, and only one qualifies. So okay, let's say Nick wins. So Martin has to qualify, and then he goes to what's after that? Cali.
Cal, yeah.
That's gonna be fucked up. If Martin or Nick does Cal, that's fucked up, bro. Because they're gonna fucking win, huh?
But it very well may come down to that.
Anybody else? Yeah, anybody else? Because I know RPG is gonna do it, but literally everybody has to do it because Regan. Honestly, I mean, Regan is not gonna win Pittsburgh or New York, right? So,
And what
Bonac
happens
is
next? And what happens next weekend if Sergio doesn't get it?
yeah, this is wild. Yeah, so
Motherfucking could be a race to a clusterfuck.
So you got to keep going. So I mean,
Yeah.
this might be the year that they might
Somebody
have to bring
ain't-
back.
Somebody ain't going to the O. Someone's missing out.
We about to have 10 guys at the fucking Olympia. if they're gonna keep competing. What the fuck? Holy shit! That's not a bad thing, though.
No, it's not. But this is where I would say this could be the year where you're going to have some of these quote unquote big names go into some of these European shows, go into like the other part of the world to compete there. Because look, I'll give you an example. Last year, and it sucks for him, and my heart goes out to him. Behrouz Tabani wins the Dubai Pro, right? He beats Bonac, Nathan, Rubiel Mosquera, right? And I'm telling you, if Behrouz was at this show, we're talking about Behrouz as a top 6 Olympian. I think he's that good. He's that complete. Literally, even Bob Chicarola was talking about that. Like, as far as guys that you profile as potential top sixers, he could be coming this. And that what's been the problem with him. The problem with a lot of Iranians is they can't get a visa, right? Hadi, again, it just worked out because, Hadi Rambod with Evagen, again, they were able to work. Again, from what I've heard, whatever, the business tie-ins, this, that, and a lot of hard work to get Hadi into this country every single time. Behrouz now is sponsored by Panada. Panada is a big freaking company, right? So they may have the kind of pull to be like, all right, hey, U.S. government, we're exhibiting in the United States, we're paying taxes, yada, yada, yada. This is one of our athletes and we need him here, that kind of a thing. That might be the thing to shift, the tide for him. But that's another guy, right? But then you have shows, and I don't want to mention specific shows or specific athletes where you say to yourself, you mean to tell me that any of these big American names couldn't have gone there or shouldn't have gone there?
Brazil.
And then you wonder why someone got squeezed out of an Olympia spot. You know what I mean? And you look at some of the guys qualifying out of those shows, and you say to yourself, like, you have to know that, like, if this guy or that guy was in that show, you're probably not getting an Olympia spot. And again, it goes back to the conversation about points. I love the fact that they got rid of the point system. I love it because for me, the Olympia should be the best of the best of the best. I'm sorry if you did not win a show. I'm sorry if you did not qualify in the top 3. I'm sure there are, strenuous circumstances of this, that, and the other. The Olympia should feature the best of the best of the best. So I love the fact that they got rid of the point system. Now, what does that mean for the open class? Yes, you are going to have some very good bodybuilders that miss out. That's life. You know what I mean? But again, with the scenario, Beatty, that you pointed out, someone's not going to get their spot potentially at Pittsburgh. They may have to go to New York. Somebody may have to go to California. You're still going to have someone that is left without an Olympia spot. What do they do? Are they going to wait for it? And there's no more Chicago Pro, by the way. This is Chicago, that's out. Okay, this is going to be Tampa. This is going to be Texas. But from my understanding, I think Andrew Jack has already signed up for Texas. So figure, are you beating Andrew Jack for an Olympia spot? And if not, where are you getting that precious Olympia qualification? You may have to, make sure your passport is up to date and ready. And if the country requires it, you may have to get a visa, but you may have to get abroad for that Olympia qualification now.
Yeah, and just because you go abroad, you still got to face fucking Behrouz. You got to face Rizzo. You got to face what's his name? Rubiel. Well, Rubiel, we don't know if that man is going to compete, but still, potentially you got to face Rubiel. Vito probably isn't going to do any more shows. Bonac is abroad. He seems to be on a fucking run. So Andrew doesn't really compete internationally, but he's from that side. So what's his name? British guy. James Hollinshead still hasn't qualified. So
he's doing Pittsburgh, I think.
Okay, there you go.
He is. You're right. Yeah.
You have Nathan. Nathan said, I don't know if he got a visa or not. I think he said he could, but he's still going to do some shows in Europe. So
it's like fuck.
So if you go, let's say like a Regan, he doesn't get it from a couple of shows, and he goes overseas, like, okay, let me try to get one. I mean, you're gonna have to. It's gonna be very hard for him to get one overseas as well. So this is an era that there's no easy qualification. This is why you have to pick your show smart, because like Sid said, there's gonna be maybe one or two shows that people are just gonna miss. Maybe the timing. You have to go. You got to go nag one of those shows. You got to pick that shit wisely. Go do some shit in Japan. Do the Japan Pro.
I'm trying to do the Wichita, Kansas.
Hey, but you're gonna have, because most people will be like, I'm not flying to Japan. But guess what? How bad do you want that qualification? You might have to go to Japan this year, And we're talking about not like a 20th place guy. We're talking about top 10 guys, right? Because like we said, Hunter still ain't qualified. Andrew still ain't qualified. Crizo ain't qualified. I mean, Nathan. So we're talking about legit top 10 guys, that won't even be able to qualify. Regan is a top 10 guy. Tonio hasn't qualified, bro. Tonio is shit. Tonio can beat a lot of people, So, hey, this is gonna be one of those years that the Olympia, last place at the Olympia, is gonna be top tier. Whoever gets last place, top tier.
That's what I'm saying. I it is my hope that we are going to be facing a scenario in which your 11 through did not place. That's going to be a battle, right? That's going to be where you're like, holy crap, they dropped down to 13th or whatever. It's not going to be some guy you've never heard of before. So there's going to be that game of musical chairs, and there are going to be a few that are going to be left without a chair. So, but again, I think it reinforces that when you're talking about the Olympia, you want to filter in the best of the best of the best. And sometimes, you know what? Somebody's going to win the show on the right day that somebody just couldn't be at, and somebody might be quote unquote better, did not get their ticket because they didn't attend that show or a show that they could have won. That's life. You know what I mean? So you didn't qualify for the playoffs, you don't get to win the championship, unfortunately.
We're going to have, without a doubt, the best last call out in Olympia history. They're gonna be bumping elbows and shit. The last call out, motherfucker. Because usually by the time you get there, they kind of deflated and shit. Now they're gonna be fucking, bumping elbows. Yeah. Hey, you're gonna have to give last place. Got to get at least 10 grand. There's this Olympia, at least 10 grand for last place, bro. Come on, man.
But Beatty, I actually got to run because I got to. Literally, my wife and kid are about to fly to Disney. I'm about to get ready to go to Europe, Germany, FIBO, and everything. But before I go, I did want to give a very special shout out. Ken, Colossus Ken, man. I just
crazy.
That guy. We talk about New York Pro, and a few years back when Sergio Oliva announced himself to the bodybuilding world in such emphatic fashion, winning that show. And I say to myself, yes, you're going to be facing against absolute titans of the sport. But holy crap, that guy, what we have seen, if there is going to be a show in which somebody pulls off an absolute world-class shocker, it could be that show, and it could be him. So I wanted to give him a big shout-out. I'm very excited to see what he's going to bring pro debut, and I think he has, if the stars align, we could be talking about that show and that result for months to come heading into the Olympia.
He looks insane. I've seen like private pictures as well, and he has everything all of those guys have. I'm not just saying that because I know him, because I'm cool with all of them, right? So it's like he literally has every tool that they have, literally. So there's nothing that they have that he doesn't have at this point. He has all the muscle. His condition is ahead of schedule. He has a shape. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, man. But Sid,
thank you so much for having me, guys. DT, listen, man, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Best of luck to everything, and I'll see you guys soon. All right.
Hey, can you give me one more
not another
shot?
18 months till I come on the show again.
Yeah. Give me one last hand shot before. Let me see the hands.
Here you go. They're my medium-sized hands. Enjoy, and you know what? Hit me up when I'm in Germany. I'll give you all the scoop, whatever, and we'll have some fun with it. Right?
Sounds good, Sid. Appreciate you, man.
All right, guys.
See ya.
Sir.
Later.
We got Sid Farooqi, man.
I'm actually going to run too, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, do your thing. Do your thing. Me too. Me too. I'm going to run myself.
I'm going to finish this thing out.
Quick thing real quick. What are you doing for Kane?
Yeah, so I'm still trying to, because the cheapest I was able to get was I'm looking at 3,500 for the surgery.
Okay.
So I'm gonna come up with it. Just I mean I'm gonna have
Well,
to
you
I'm
want
gonna have
you
to
why don't
take
you why
less.
don't you, why don't you break the why don't you tell people if they want to donate or anything? I mean,
I don't even know how to set that up if I'm being honest.
oh,
But what I could do is maybe like a I don't know t-shirts or something again because I kind of took that off. Maybe I come out with cane t-shirts
yeah,
something
do
something like
something
that.
like
I'll
that. I
definitely
mean,
rock that.
All right, but
a GoFundMe is pretty easy to set up, man. If you really want to do that. So
I mean I could always just take less GH, man.
yeah, but you know how to. When we were talking, you know it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I might try to do that. I might try to do like cane t-shirts, like a pictured cane.
Yeah,
Um,
just I mean, bump up the
mhm.
price. I mean, honestly, I'm being real with everybody.
I
I
could
mean,
do
it
that.
is what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, I
That's
could do that.
that's what goes for a good cause, and that's what people do. You
Yeah,
know, people.
I'm a make it dramatic. It's gonna be Kane laying down on the floor like this.
No, no. Well, if
Nah,
you need help with anything, let
okay.
me know, bro.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate that, man. I
All
appreciate
right,
that.
Alyssa, you have a great
Bye.
weekend. Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
you too, DC.
I'll see you guys.
Later.
Bye.
I got a bad habit of when something bad is happening, I try to make a joke of it instead.
I know you said that on your last podcast that you did solo.
Yeah, it's like life is short, and I don't like being sad and shit. So I try to just make a joke out of it all because end of the day, it's all everything passes, and we only here for a short while. So let's not make it miserable. All right, want to do a couple questions?
Let's do it.
All right, let's see. But I mean, another thing I've noticed is anytime something bad happens, something good comes out of it. Whether it's something you learn about yourself or something, just there's always like something you learn from it that's positive. People who haven't went through hardship are kind of bland. They don't really have they don't have a very good perspective. All right,
Tell me about it.
Andrew Jack versus Paul Dillette.
I don't know, Paul.
I think Paul might actually have a better physique. Well, for the most, from the front, at least from the front.
I'm
But
thinking about Paul's hamstrings and glutes. That's just where Andrew lags.
I like Paul's physique better. But like competitively, Paul usually doesn't come in crazy condition, and his posing was so bad,
Oh,
you know.
I'm
But
not too familiar.
I kind of like Paul's physique. I'm not gonna lie though. I like Andrew's
What's in
physique too.
my? I got a front double and rear double of Paul in my head, and I'm going with Paul.
I think I'm gonna go Paul too. That might. I'm sure some people will go with Andrew, and that's not a wrong answer. But just my preference, I like the crazy round muscle bellies. The forearms. Just Paul's physique. I thought looked insane. All right. Should Martin have beat Derek last year at the O?
No.
No. I mean, he had some better body parts and poses. Well, they were only one place different, so I mean, it was close, so I guess, right? So it's like it would be like a bigger if they were like way different, then it would be more of a debate. But I guess they were close enough that I guess that I think some judges maybe had him win. Maybe I don't know, but
I don't either.
yeah, Martin is one of the best in the world. In that top five, in that top eight, just being a percentage off or on, anybody could flip, you know. But should he have beat him? If he did, would you be upset if he did? I guess not.
I
But
wouldn't care, but I think the judges know what they're doing and seeing, so I think they had it
100%.
correct.
Yeah,
I have
I
faith in
think.
the judges.
But what happens is that right as fans, I think when somebody, hey, no, when somebody doesn't bring their best, which is Derek didn't bring his best, and Martin brings his all-time best, I think it makes you feel like they should win, right? Just because even if somebody's Like, okay, like Martin versus Nick. Nick still beat Martin, even though Martin versus best Nick was maybe one of his worst. So it makes you feel like the person at their best should win, even if they didn't win, right? So I'm gonna have to. I think the judges got it right. I think maybe you feel like that because one was at their best and one wasn't. That could happen too. Shit, we could say that about Samson winning the O. I think that was probably Samson's best look, but I still don't think his conditioning was as good as the Derek and Heidi
Shit.
and
We
Martin.
can say that about me and Zana.
Yeah, so sometimes that happens.
It'd be like,
Let's see. What's your dream best day? I guess like a perfect day. Huh?
I had a great day. I had a great day today.
I feel like we as bodybuilders, we're not that picky. We enjoy the small things. Like I don't, how people be like, because somebody asked before if you were like, I forget, I think it was if you was like dying or something or had a terminal illness, what would you do? And most of us, we kind of like, I mean, maybe I have a cheat meal. I don't fucking know. Like, we're not gonna be like, I'm gonna go to the Congo and drink ayahuasca and wrestle a lion. Like, I mean, we're not into that. We chilling. We chilling. We want to eat some
The
good
dream
food.
day is just get a good night's sleep, have tacos.
Yeah.
I live out my dream every day. So
Okay. That says it. If you say something crazy, usually if somebody's working like a corporate job they don't like, they're the ones that say, I want to go skydiving in the Maldives or some shit, right? Because they don't enjoy what they're doing. Whereas we try to enjoy every day to some extent. So you ask us a question like that, it's kind of like, I mean, maybe if I could have some oxtails right now, I'd be pretty happy. That's good company. We're pretty secluded, so I think we always enjoy good company if we're not irritable.
yeah,
But
like even in Texas when y'all was all there, that was dope. Like
it's fun, right?
I'm doing my thing. My friends were there. I was on the podcast a couple times prior to the show. So if I would have went to dinner with y'all, that would have topped it off. But
That's what makes it fun. And you ever find yourself in the off season? I don't know what you call it. Some people call it maybe like a post show blues. I wouldn't call it that. More so, maybe things are stagnant and you're kind of a little bored. And then you
yeah,
like,
you have no deadline to shoot for.
yeah. Sometimes I find myself and I'm like, should I do what the fun shit that people do? Like, somebody invite me out at the gym. Hey, go to the party. I'm like, I think I should go. Let me just go be social. And then you're sitting there that night. You're like, I'm not fucking going to that party. Fuck it. It's like
Yeah,
sometimes I feel like I should go out there, but then I realize what actually makes me happy. Going to the Texas Pro, like just being around like-minded people, that fulfills me. I don't have to. I don't have to go party. I just don't.
yeah,
So I think we're really simple in that way. All right, let's do one or two more.
yeah. My phone's gonna die.
Hygiene tips.
Take a shot, dude.
Wash your
Yeah,
ass.
wear deodorant to the gym. That's all I'm gonna say.
And
Please.
and wash your clothes because even if you get like a little musty, I shouldn't be able to smell it from 6 feet away as long as your clothes are clean. When you smell that real deep closet musk, you're like, this person didn't wash their clothes. That's all you have to do. If you
Yes.
wash your clothes and wear deodorant, I understand people have different, like naturally, some people just have worse hygiene, but come on, you can smell sweaty because you're working hard. I get it, but there's a limit. I think washing clothes and
Yeah.
wearing deodorant is a bare minimum. If I smell under your arms and I smell something, that's one thing, but it shouldn't radiate, like a 8 foot radius. I think that's unacceptable at any gym. So,
You gotta
just
go.
yeah, try to shower before and after the gym. Wear deodorant and wash your clothes regularly.
This is not even about washing yourself. This is about beddings too. Wash your bedding, change your pillows every so often, because once that's probably why if you're breaking out. If your back's breaking out, your face, wash your shit.
You're right. One time I was sick for like 2 weeks and I didn't change my pillowcases because I felt like shit. And I kept breaking. I'm like, why am I fucking breaking out? And I'm like, it's these fucking dirty ass fucking pillowcases I've been fucking drilling in and snotting in for fucking weeks. So,
for sure.
All right. Last
one more.
Nick can beat first. First prep. That's a long one. I'm gonna do a short one. Do you think Nick can beat Derek? Have you seen his updates? It's gonna be tough. That's gonna be a tough one.
It's that midsection competition between those two.
You know, back when Nick was on the bro chat regularly, you would ask Nick, "Can this person beat you?" Of course, he would say no, right? Derek was this was before Derek went to open. Fuad asked him, "Hey, if Derek went to open, could he beat you, Nick?" And Nick said yes. And I'm like, everybody was like, "Wait, did he just say yes?" First of all, that's good that he's self-aware, because that's important to be self-aware. Because if you think you're that bad, or you think you're that good, you won't actually work hard enough, I believe. So it's good that he thought that. But the fact that he admits that says a lot. That tells you how good Derek is. And I think sometimes maybe Derek doesn't get the credit he deserves. Anything is possible, but most likely Derek is going to win Pittsburgh, right? If we have to bet money, I think.
I foresee that happening. I foresee that happening. Yeah.
Derek and Martin are excellent, but I have Derek winning for sure. But Alyssa, I appreciate you for coming on. I know you're in prep. You're probably tired. I'm kind of tired myself, but
just a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody, and peace out. Let's go get some tacos.
Later, bro.